Hello and welcome to another segment of Appetizers for Success. My name is John Arnold and I'm an executive coach.
And I'm Marilena Beutes, also executive coach. We are both very, very pleased to have another great segment today. And we have fabulous Lani Montoya, who has been a client of us and most importantly, friend from many years. Lani right now, she works on an international company based out of Paris. And in her role as Director of Global Talent Management, Diversity and Inclusion, she's here to share with us some of the challenges and learnings that she has dealt with in that position. So welcome, Lani.
Thank you, Marilena. Thank you, John. It's a pleasure to be here. So thank you for having me.
Excellent. So I guess the first question that comes to mind, Lani, is, with everything that we have been going through with COVID and companies trying to readjust ways of developing our talent, and what have you done differently? What has worked for you? Where's the attention at in terms of your talent management? Especially, I'll be curious to hear your opinion on the global management of it, not just a locality, but on a global perspective. What have you done different as a company?
Yeah, great question, Marilena. As you know, we had a little bit of, I would say, a derailer with our plans for the year in terms of what our talent management practices normally are with COVID. So we had to sort of adapt to the situation. And I would say that we've done it quite quickly. First of all, like many organizations, we were able to bring in a virtual way of working for most of our employees. So we have really been able to conduct business as usual. In some cases, since March, we have offices that haven't reopened. And then our biggest focus, where other companies might have decided to decrease their investment on budgets, we've actually maintained them because we felt it was the right time to develop individuals and really bring an opportunity for them to reskill themselves and continue to develop their careers within the organization. So we've been putting a lot of focus around learning. We've had the opportunity to quickly change some programs that were more, I would say, classroom-based to virtual settings. So we've readapted our programs, and this has allowed us to reach populations that we normally would not have under normal circumstances because of travel costs and the number of people who can be in those sessions. And so we've been able to leverage more resources and talents within the organization. And then I would say from a more process perspective, we have annual reviews of our talents. We took a step back and said, okay, is it the right time to continue to have these meetings, knowing that we have, everything is being conducted virtually and we don't have this direct assessment of people. And so we have been working with our managers to help them manage employees in a better way in this virtual setting, and continued the progression of career mobility at a global level within the organization. So we haven't slowed down actually on the people agenda. We have just, I would say, focused on some areas more than others.
Lani, as an international leader, how have the programs that you've developed impacted retention of top talent?
So I think one of the things that we know during this time is important is retaining that top talent. And I would say, we are more than the programs that we're putting in place. We are really showing our employees that we care. Mm-hmm. And so it's not just about looking at them in terms of the workplace setting, but as human beings, the total person that comes into work with all of the different challenges. So we've been putting in different programs around mental health, also things around financial fitness, helping them with meditation and different practices. We've been surveying the organization to really understand the pulse of the organization. We are quite decentralized. So in many of our affiliates, we could have many different things happening. But at a global level, I would say we're following up on our talents. We're staying close to them. In some cases where there's, I would say, specific family situations, we have brought some of them back home to their home country to work from there until things stabilize a bit more. So we have been staying very close, I would say, to understanding where our employees are in terms of their own emotions and trying to adapt to that as we go along.
Wow. You know, diversity and inclusion has taken on a whole new meaning here in the States, which I don't think is a secret. And it seems as though the international community has been open and even far more advanced in with those initiatives. What's been your experience, maybe more internationally, with diversity and inclusion and the impact on the workforce?
So we have, at our company, we focus on mainly two at global level, two dimensions of diversity, so gender and nationality. And I would say in some cases, I admire very much France in how, I would say, how strong they are about getting involved in what organizations are doing around gender diversity. So they have specific quotas that have to be met at the board level. And now they're moving into more at top management level. So by a certain date, they expect to see a diverse, I would say, group of top management in each of the organizations, which puts pressure on companies to move faster, to accelerate their agenda, to prepare women, and to make sure that they are ready to achieve those KPIs. And we've been, I would say, working very much towards that as an organization. We have still a lot of room to grow. It's an agenda for us, a regular topic and discussion. We are not, I would say, we are not one of the worst, but we're certainly not proud of where we are. And we also have specific metrics that we want to achieve. What's changed for us, I would say, since the things that have been happening in the US is we have become much more aggressive in our agenda. We have been deliberate about showing our employees where we are and where we want to be. Before it was much more of a top management discussion. Now we are open to sharing that information because people are asking, they're holding us accountable, and they want to understand what is that roadmap. So not necessarily are you there, but what is your plan to get there? And so we have been, I would say, very actively sharing about that with our employees and bringing more transparency and responsibility as an employer. Alongside that, we have also been moving more into the inclusion aspect of diversity. So, you know, we can get the talents in. That's normally not a problem. It's really being able to retain them because they feel that they're in an environment where they feel like they belong and they can be themselves, and an environment that allows them to bring out their full potential. So that's the other big piece that we're working on as we continue this agenda.
Wow.
That's wonderful to hear that not only the discussions are happening at the top level, but the accountability is transmitted at all levels of the organization, and they're all interested in knowing what's going on and how can we get there. Because we know it's not a question about numbers or quotas, it's a question about really believing in that talent and know that you and your organization fosters that as well. Now, I'm interested, Lani, we're all asking ourselves this question. Nobody has the answer. So just your point of view or insight about what's going to be the new normal. So try to think about, what would that be, for you in terms of your operations, in terms of, we know you travel quite a bit and probably have been restricted about that. We also know that in your organization, there's a lot of expats in terms of that talent development. So can you tell us what you're envisioning as a new normal for you and others?
Well, I can tell you that I don't think we will ever have normal again. So, so that's a start. So I think it would be unique depending on the situation and the circumstances. What I think it's bringing is certainly more adaptability and flexibility. Even for us as an organization, we are quite traditional in terms of really fostering this human aspect, if you will, of relationships and being together and celebrating together. And it's the core of who we are as an organization. And I would say that as we go through this journey, we are learning to do that in a different way. So as part of the new ways of being, I don't think we'll have a normal day, but I think that we will have a learning through this process that will allow us to adapt and be much more flexible and agile as new things happen, and maybe connect even more individually with our employees, seeing them again as the whole person versus who they are in the office. So it's bringing more of this together in the employee experience. So not just looking, from that perspective, but a lifestyle perspective, which is, it's new for organizations. We're very good at separating the two. And COVID has taught us many things, especially for those of us in HR, that people are one. And when you're having a conversation and you have, someone's child running behind, and you acknowledge that, you see that, you realize that they're parents that are coming into the office. And if their child needs to have lunch, they need to take a break and be able to do that. And so how do we continue to perform at our very best, acknowledging these aspects of the employee life?
Lani, I would be remiss, since Mary Elena and I are both executive coaches and we've had some experience working together. Can you share your perspective on the impact of coaching in general when it comes to global talent management?
I'm, as you know, a strong advocate of coaching. So I think coaching is helpful in every aspect of a leader's journey. In fact, I probably would like to reflect on it even more when it comes to diversity and inclusion, because I do believe that coaching is a very strong way to bring managers to understand better their biases and how to confront those biases and deal with them in a safe place where they could really have these questions answered for themselves. So one of the, I would say, of the ways that we are also dealing with the D&I agenda is to bring coaching to senior leaders to help them open up a bit more their perspective that, that they may not even notice that's standing in their way at times when it comes to the D&I agenda.
Yes, we all have our blind spots, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Mary Elena, in the few minutes we have remaining, was there anything else that was top of mind for you with Lani?
No, I actually just enjoying seeing you again, Lani, and thank you. I don't know if there's anything else that occurs to you that you would like to, for our your spectators in this case, is a final message or a great learning or insight that that you have learned the last year that you would like to share with us.
So thank you both. Again, it was a pleasure to be here. I would say that for myself personally, the year has been one of reflection and really taking stock of the basic things in life and appreciating those things. Sometimes we go too fast and all of a sudden we've been slowed down and we have no control of what's happening in the future. I think this is going to bring much more responsibility to organizations. Investors, as well as shareholders, as well as employees, will have stronger demands on companies to be much more responsible as organizations, not just in the context of COVID, but in general. And so I think it's going to add more pressure, and we're learning all together. And so I look forward to the transformation that we will go through as organizations in this process.
Lani, thank you. It's so wonderful to connect with you or reconnect with you again. We have thoroughly enjoyed your experience and your journey with us today, and we can't thank you enough for that.
Thank you. I've enjoyed it as well. Thank you, and good to see you both.
Good to see you again.